Now, Democrats have been quick to criticize the meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and the Russian attorney, with a flurry of fiery rhetoric coming out of Capitol Hill. Well, earlier I spoke to Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern and began by asking him what he thought when he saw those emails. Take a listen.
Well, I thought it was disturbing and troubling and a little bit creepy, quite frankly. I mean, it was pretty explicit in those emails that the meeting that was being suggested was being endorsed by the Russian government. And Donald Trump Jr. decided that he would take the meeting. What he should have done is call the FBI, but instead, I guess in his eagerness to get dirt on Hillary Clinton, decided to have the meeting. And not just him, but Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort. I mean, the three top people in the Trump campaign. The only person higher than those three is Donald Trump. So it's all very troubling to me. And I know it's troubling a lot of my constituents as well.
What are your constituents telling you?
Well, they can't believe this. I mean, you know, I had one person call me and say, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, every time you think that, you know what happened, then another shoe drops. And it seems that this administration is incapable of telling the truth. I mean, they're constantly trying to deny things until they get caught. I mean, Donald Trump said he was proud of his son for being transparent. Well, the only reason why Donald Trump Jr. was transparent was because he got caught in a lie. And the New York Times was going to publish those emails. So, again, it makes you wonder what else is out there.
Let me ask you this. I was speaking to a Trump supporter yesterday who basically said, look, when it comes to campaigning, these meetings happen even with foreign officials or foreign contacts. Do you buy that?
I don't. I've never heard of such a thing. Look, when Al Gore's campaign received unauthorized material about George Bush's debate prep, what his campaign did was they called the FBI. And this is worse. This is a foreign government, and not only a foreign government, a government that's been pretty hostile to the United States, basically offering you dirt on your political opponent. I mean, the idea that you wouldn't think that that was inappropriate, I mean, a 15-year-old would know that that's inappropriate. So I don't buy this idea that they didn't know any better or this is politics as usual. It's not politics as usual. And if Donald Trump Jr. didn't know better, certainly Paul Manafort, who has been the veteran of many campaigns, should have known better.
But if nothing came out of this, Mr. McGovern, does that even make a difference? They said, he says nothing came out of this at all. Kellyanne Conway said the same thing. Does that matter at all?
No, well, first of all, I don't trust this administration. I mean, they have lied so many times. I don't trust them to tell me the correct time, never mind whether or not anything came out of that meeting. I don't know. And I think none of us know. And we don't know if this was the only meeting that was arranged between somebody with connections to the Russian government. So there's lots of questions out there. That's why these investigations in both the House and Senate are important. That's why the work that Robert Mueller is doing is important. I mean, look, we need these investigations to continue. We need to get to the bottom of this. If there's criminal activity, then whoever's involved needs to be held to account. But beyond that, we need to get to the truth so that we can prevent Russia from meddling in our elections ever again.
You're clearly quite appalled at what you've read from these email exchanges. Would you go as far as calling it treason, as some are calling it?
Well, I don't know what to call it. I think I'm bothered by the fact that I can't get anybody in the Trump administration to say flat out that this was inappropriate and this was wrong. This is the kind of behavior that shouldn't be tolerated. And look, this attorney that they were dealing with, was not only representing the Russian government, but she is an attorney who's been dedicated to trying to undercut human rights law in the United States for years. She's been the point person to try to overturn the Magnitsky Act. So I think what makes this meeting even more inappropriate, in addition to trying to give them dirt on Hillary Clinton, is the fact that she was trying to get their ear to get the president-elect, if he became president, to repeal the Magnitsky Act. Now, I'm the author of the Magnitsky Act. Sergei Magnitsky was a lawyer and an auditor in Russia who exposed some of the biggest corruption in Russian history, and his reward was he was put in jail, tortured, and murdered. So this is the character of the lawyer who they sat down with. So, no matter how you look at it, this was a very bad meeting to have.
And on those investigations, what would you like to see to come out of these email exchanges? Do you think that Donald Trump Jr. should come under oath?
I do. I mean, I absolutely do. He basically said, and so did his father, that nobody that he knows of had any contact with the Russians during the campaign. That is now obviously a lie. He then said that the meeting he had with this Russian attorney was about adoptions. Based on the emails, we know that is a lie. So, look, I think, you know, I don't trust these people to tell me the truth or to tell the American people the truth or the world the truth unless they're under oath.
Do you think this is a smoking gun? Do you think there's or do you think there's much more to come from this?
I don't think this is the end of it. I think there's more. I mean, you know, I think it's probably more with regard to Donald Trump Jr. We certainly know that there's more with regard to General Flynn and Paul Manafort, I mean, and Jared Kushner. And, you know, the question used to be, you know, who in this administration met with Russian officials? Now the question is, who in this administration didn't meet with Russian officials? It seems that everybody in some form or another has been in contact with people connected to the Russian government.
How is the state of the White House at this moment, do you think? In paralysis?
I think the state of the White House is chaos, quite frankly. I mean, they're dealing, you know, they're trying to put out fires with regard to this latest Russia revelation, and as a result, you know, they're not governing. And, you know, look, I'm a Democrat. I oppose this president on most of his policies. I think they're wrong for America. I think they're wrong for the world. But even amongst my Republican colleagues, I mean, they are privately expressing great concern over what's happening. I mean, this is, you know, they're being told what I'm being told, and that is that there was nothing here. So even amongst Republican members here in the House and Senate, I mean, there's a lot of frustration. And you know, I mean, it is what it is, but I think the only way forward is to get to the truth. These investigations need to be thorough, they need to be credible, and they need to lead wherever they lead. And if there's criminality involved, anybody who committed a criminal act needs to be held to account. And then we need to figure out how to make sure this never happens again.
That was Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern speaking to me.